Hi everyone, I'm Krista and welcome to my video on the topic of does size and quality of crystals and gemstones matter when it comes to crystal healing? So in a nutshell, the answer is no. And why I say this, and there's many different opinions on this, but when I have been doing crystal healing work, what I have learned and found over many years of working with crystals and gemstones is that size and the quality does not matter when it comes to crystal healing. The crystals and the gemstones will have the healing properties no matter if it's a small stone, a larger stone, or a highly polished, beautiful gem grade stone, or a rough piece of gemstone or crystal. So I want to show you a few examples here. So for instance, let's look at quality first. So here is a rough piece of amethyst. Okay, I'll just turn it around. So it's just a raw, rough piece, not polished or anything. And here is a polished piece of amethyst, which is actually a point. So this one is a very light amethyst color. I'll just hold it a little closer so that you can see. Okay, and maybe I'll go like this. Okay. So there's some examples there, and I want to show you some examples of quartz. So here is a piece of rough quartz that came from the Himalayan mountains that I was gifted. I'll show you the back of it. And it's not the most pretty stone either because it's kind of got this dirt in here that I haven't cleaned because I thought, oh, that's kind of nice that there's some dirt from the Himalayan mountains. And the other side, there's a little bit of dirt in there as well. Okay. Now here is another piece of quartz that came from Ireland that I found on the beach when I was in Ireland. And again, it's not that pretty to look at. Well, maybe I think it's pretty, and some people might agree that it's pretty. I like all stones, but it's not as, gorgeous in terms of aesthetics as a clear quartz point like this. So even though it's quartz, this one is a point and it holds a high vibration. There's lots of light flowing through it. But in terms of healing benefits and healing properties, both this rough stone and this polished point are similar in terms of what you can do with it for healing. Now, points can direct energy, and this little stone here doesn't direct energy as well as a point, but when you use it for the healing properties, then it's actually very, very similar. So I'll show you another piece here, one more example. This is blue topaz. It's a very, very pale blue. It almost looks clear in the light here. And I have a smaller piece, so this is rough, and a smaller piece right here of this one here of the blue topaz, and this is actually gem quality. So if I bring it a little closer, you can see this one is a rough piece that I'm turning, and it has some chips and fractures in it, and then this one is more gem quality, which you would find in a piece of jewelry. So when I have been working with crystals and gemstones for healing, I have experimented with rough pieces and highly polished pieces of higher grade in terms of, beauty and aesthetics. And what I have found is it doesn't matter if a stone is rough or of a higher grade, the healing potential of the stone is the same. And when you use crystals and gemstones and work with them, when you work with the stones with love and intention, then it brings out and enhances the healing properties of the stone. So it doesn't matter if it's a rough piece or if it's a highly polished piece, both are the same for healing. And sometimes I'm attracted to get rough pieces. So when I go down to my local crystal shop and I'm looking at a whole tray of the same type of stone, sometimes I will definitely more often go to the rough stones, even though they might not look as pretty as the polished ones. But I really love them, and I find that they can be very, very powerful for healing just as much as a beautiful polished piece of gemstone or crystal. Now let's look also at size. I showed you that blue topaz and there was a larger one and a smaller one. I'm going to show you a very small piece of peridot. So this is a very tiny piece of peridot that I have. And I will show you another little piece of Super 7 gemstone. So this is a small little piece of Super 7, and it's in a little pyramid shape, which I love. And again, the size of the stone doesn't matter. Now, similar to what I just said about working with crystals and working with them in a loving way that's intentional, enhances the healing potential of the stone. So even if you're working with a small piece and you are working with the stone with love and positive intention for healing, then you magnify or amplify the healing benefits of that stone. And so when you think of it from that perspective, then there are the same amount of healing benefits available in a smaller stone just as a larger stone. So it doesn't matter if you're working with a small one or a large one, the healing potential can be the same. I think a lot of times we can get caught up in the idea that bigger is better, or, you know, the more prettier the crystal is, the better it will be. You know, we're kind of conditioned of that in our culture, at least in the West. And, you know, everything has to be perfect, everything has to be beautiful. And if it is more perfect or more beautiful looking or bigger, then it's better. And that's not the case when it comes to crystal healing. And that's something that the crystals and the gemstones have really taught me, that it doesn't matter if it's a rough stone or a highly polished, beautiful stone, healing potential is the same. And same with size. If it's a larger stone and a smaller stone, then the healing potential is the same when you use it with loving intention and work with the crystal from that positive viewpoint. Now, I personally like to work with smaller gemstones because there's a practical aspect as well. If you had a huge gemstone and you wanted to work with it, it's heavy, and if you wanted to lay it on the body, let's say in the area of the heart chakra, it could be too much weight. So there is a practical element that working with smaller stones for body layouts are easier. And I love small stones because I will put them in my pockets and carry them with me throughout the day, and it's not as easy or practical to do that with a bigger stone. So the smaller stones can be wonderful for that. So I hope this has clarified maybe some questions that you might have had about gem quality as well as size. And working with the stones over many years, the stones have really taught me that it really doesn't matter when you use them with love and positive intention. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed this topic. I'm Christa Lynn, crystal healing therapist, as well as teacher of crystal healing classes. If you would like more information on crystal healing, then please like my Facebook page, or you can visit my website at christalynn.ca. Thank you so much for watching. Blessings to you, and namaste.